What's up, everybody, and welcome to the fourth episode of the Awesomely Average Show. I am, of course, your very average host, Aaron Sini, and with me tonight is not one, but two very special guests. Over to my right, this way now, that mirror thing is very tricky for me, we have none other than Anthony Cuba, one half of our hosts, and right down there, that one doesn't confuse me. It's not like I'm going to do that. We have my very first podcast partner, one of my longest friends, Brent Ballard, also known as Brentinus Maximus of the House Ballard. These guys are both, of course, the hosts of a wonderful podcast called Pop-Timistic, a podcast shedding positivity on the pop culture world, combating internet toxicity. So welcome, my two guests. Guys, how the hell are you?
Way better after that intro. That was wow.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel good.
Nothing is so good for the soul to get a good intro.
The rest is probably going to be a shit show.
That's okay. We're used to that.
Yeah.
Anthony, how are you tonight?
Over caffeinated. How are you?
Under caffeinated. Thank you for asking. I'm glad we got that joke out of the way, like pre-show.
Let's just roll. We rehearsed that one.
Thanks so much for joining me. This is, of course, the Awesomely Average Show, where I bring on a couple of guests who have been creating content, doing all sorts of cool things on the internet, and we talk about how they got started, where they're going, what they're doing, and you get to know sweet content creators. So, let's dive in. Tonight's challenge, how many times can I say the word pop? So that brings me to my very first segment. Let's pop back in time.
Hey!
How did this opportunity come about?
Are you just blowing them all at the beginning?
Hey, that's what I do.
You gotta save some.
Blow it early, and then we're done. Oh, this is gonna get out of control so fast.
That's how we like it.
So, how did this opportunity come about? Tell me a little bit about how you guys met.
Well,
the
boy.
story of us meeting is like a rom-com that no one wants to watch.
But they want to hear about it.
We both worked at Sprint. There it is.
End of story.
End of story. End of rom-com. John Krasinski and some girl walk out into the sunset, and it's great.
So you guys were both working together and in Colorado, right?
Yeah, we were in a small franchise Sprint store. Franchise important because you can't do anything.
Oh.
So you can only sell phones, and if anybody comes in for any problem, you just direct them to the other store. But yeah, we were salespeople, and it was very boring. So we ended up just playing games and talking, and creating a dynamic between us. And
yeah, that's true.
Then we got married.
And now we have 3 beautiful children.
Yeah. Yep. They're all cats.
Yeah, they're all behind me right now, actually, sleeping on the couch.
Incredible. So you guys then have since left Colorado and are in completely different states. How did you guys stay in touch? Typically, when you make friends with coworkers, like it's friendship born out of convenience. Let's just be honest. And then people move away. Sometimes they say, sometimes they don't. So how did you guys stay in contact so long that now this came about?
That's kind of funny because originally Anthony moved to California. Yeah, we didn't really stay in touch.
Nice.
I think like when he would come back, I would randomly see on Facebook that he was coming back, and I'd be like, "Hey, let's hang out." So then I would force him to hang out with me, like I do most people. And then
I've been there.
It's actually really sad. I was looking at a picture today, and I realized that I just threw out the T-shirt he got me at a brewery that we were hanging out at. And I had had it for years, but it was full of holes, and I finally had to get rid of it. And then I was like, "Oh, this would have been like the one time to do it." But
I love that story is like, and I have this really sweet memory that I threw out the other day.
I burned it out.
Yeah, pretty much.
Which brewery? That's important.
Loveland Brewery.
Oh, Loveland Works. Okay, love it.
Yeah, I have that picture was my profile picture.
Okay,
so it matters and means something, Anthony. Anyways,
also, welcome, Rob. You're hot.
Ooh.
No, just
thanks, Rob. So then I moved to Texas, and this was all during COVID stuff. Yeah. And I was just like thinking about podcast stuff. And I remembered that Anthony at one point during one of the random hangouts from when he was visiting in Colorado from California, we had talked about podcasts, and he had talked about an idea that he had for a positivity podcast that was kind of this idea that we are now running with. And so I was out one night on my nightly walk, and I was like, I'm going to just call Anthony and we're going to talk about this. So
nice.
Randomly just hit him up to see if he still wanted to do it. And then now it's like, it's one of those friendships that it's like the second we started talking again, it was like it had never stopped. So
yeah,
real fun.
That's awesome. You future spoilers, you ruined the next question. Who popped the question first?
Oh boy.
So it was Brent. Brent, you were the one who actually called him up, and you're
so
like, hey.
technically, Anthony, when we originally talked about it, had asked if I wanted to do it, and we were kind of like toying around with it, and then very average, like typical me thing to do, I got nervous and flaked and didn't do it. And then this most recent time when I asked the question, I was like, "Nah, girl, we doing this," and we did it. So
you kind of put the pressure on yourself to be like, well, I approached this idea, so I can't flake on it.
Yeah.
Okay. I dig
it. I told myself, stop being a little bitch and just do it.
I love it. Did you say it in the mirror, or was it like you just kind of closed your eyes and centered yourself? I know exactly the moment. Like
I was
walking through the directorial debut of you being like, don't be a little bitch.
In the mirror, completely naked.
Okay.
Looking myself right in the eyes. And yeah.
And said Bloody Mary 3 times, and then she came out and said, don't be a bitch, dude.
That was it.
And then you're like, okay. I love it.
Yeah, but it also go ahead. I think you had a question.
You go.
It came out of, and I don't know if this is gonna be your next question, but it came out of quarantine. I mean, we all felt so isolated from each other, and I don't know about you, but for the last year, I've really started talking to people from the past. Just reconnecting. Yeah. It's been really nice to rekindle some things, and not in a romantic way, but just finding those human connections at a time where we're most isolated, and that's kind of where this came out of, because I think back then the idea didn't really stick too much.
Sure.
But now it's this is a time when not only is the fan base of every nerd franchise just a salty pit of nonsense, but we're also at a time when we just need to talk about positive things. We just need to talk about things we love. We just need to put that out into the universe. So it really, I think, stuck in that way too. Not just that we have a great dynamic and we missed each other, but which is actually the first point. But it is that too.
Yeah, and I think you make a really good point that, through quarantine and everything we've gone through, this idea of reconnecting with people that maybe friendships that have lost, it's no longer about the space of convenience. It's not like, oh, we're in the same location, let's get together and talk. It's more like, I can't go anywhere, so I'll reach out to people that I haven't talked to who are far away. So I think that's really cool.
Well, and on top of that, I'm working from home, he's working from home. We had a little extra time to put our energy towards something, and I really hope that sticks. I love working from home.
That's awesome. So did you guys throw around any other podcast idea, or just go with the first thing that popped up?
Are you going to have a 100% batting rate on this?
I am 100% so far, but I promise it doesn't stay that way. I prepped this and I ran out of steam.
I think it was the first one, because we talked about stuff before and I had a couple ideas, and then he just hit me up randomly, was like, hey man, I'm in a pretty, weird place. Do we want to just do something cool? And I was like, yeah, well, this is the idea. I've been thinking about this. Let's do it. And so it just happened. Yeah. We just,
I think this is kind of the only one we really discussed. We've discussed variants of how it was going to go. But it's the whole topic of being positive about pop culture stuff was just what we wanted to do. And it's I think it's something that we knew we could both stay engaged with.
Yeah.
And it wasn't, we knew that we didn't want to go too laser focused on one subject or one idea at all times, to where we would have to pigeonhole ourselves into doing one thing that we would get bored with. So
that was the first idea that I really had. That was the sketch was the challenge that turned into a segment called Light a Candle, which was taking something that's very divisive or, whatever, very salty at the time, and then challenging ourselves to only talk about what we love, or making it what's good about it, or making even if we absolutely hate it, something like The Room or something, and then coming out of that is, well, now we have communities of people, you know, who go to movies and watch The Room at midnight, and that's a beautiful thing. And like, if you go and watch it, like, so fun. But the first idea was, well, let's do an hour of that, and then it was like, oh, I don't know about that. That's pretty rough. Can't we just talk about things we like?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I like this idea that you guys were like, okay, we're going to just pick one really bad thing, and for a whole hour, we're going to do nothing but love on it. And then Brent was like, Attack of the Clones. And you were like, well, maybe something different where we could do that for like 10 minutes. And then
we're like, maybe not so much.
Yeah.
That is, Rob says that's a great segment. It's absolutely one of my favorite segments that you guys do, light a candle. And I also like that sometimes it's very organic where you guys will stop and say, oh, well, you need to light a candle on that, or I want to light a candle on this really quick. Even when I've noticed when I listen to the episodes, if you guys even kind of slip into the negative, you really remember the core theme of what your show is supposed to be. And while you don't necessarily like call each other out, you always call out that moment. And I always think that's some of the most genuine content that you guys do. It's definitely the most wholesome.
Thank you.
It's
hard because like I'm pretty good at being positive in general, but I'm also like, I like being a salty bitch sometimes.
Right.
And so it's really like,
you have like some of the best sarcasm I've ever seen. So when you told me what you were doing, Brent, after knowing you for almost 20 years now, I was just like, can you do that?
I honestly, sometimes we start the podcast, I'm like, I don't know if I can say nice things about some of the stuff we're going to talk about, but I've made it through for the most part.
Oh, it's been great.
Really
Yeah. I don't think you've ever just like fully gone away from what the show is. And again, light a candle specifically, I think is always a good way that you guys kind of reground your show. And it's been cool.
Yeah.
It's a helpful tool.
I'm going to drop my 100% batting average, but I got to know, Pop-Timistic. That is a perfect name. Literally, anytime I've been like, oh, hey, check out Pop-Timistic. I was just on a podcast called the Burnout Brighter podcast, and it's very similar to what you guys do. And at the end of the show, they were like, do you have anything else you want to shout out? And I shouted you guys out. Oh. And the host was like, oh my God, what a perfect name. Like, what am I doing? I'm like, I know. What are we all doing? This is such a good name. No other podcast title needs to exist. So how in the hell did you guys come up with the perfect name, Pop-Timistic?
It was a lot of back and forth.
Okay.
We had a couple names that we were kind of trying to decide from. You Nerded, We Stand was one of the other ones.
Oh, that's good.
That became kind of our like.
It's kind of our tag, yeah. But in the end, it came down to just what people liked more, and that one was just, I don't even remember who came up with that one. If it was me,
I was going to be honest, I don't remember.
But it was just one of the random ones that we was like,
we were just spitballing, and like we came up with a list of them, and I think I loved You Nerded, you loved Pop-Timistic. We sent it to, and I'm not kidding, like 20 to 30 people, and it came back like 60 to 70% for Pop-Timistic. Yeah, and then I looked it up and I realized when we made the pun, I didn't realize it was an actual definition of a word.
It is?
Gonna quickly look that up because I forgot what it is.
I definitely remember what our show is supposed to mean.
Wait.
And then,
Googling
hey,
so fast.
I can do this. It's called vamping, I believe. You guys also have awesome artwork, which you guys found in Artists Online, right?
Yeah, we used Fiverr.
Okay.
We found it on Fiverr. I don't know if anyone that's listened to our podcast as well, we also have, in my opinion, like one of the dopest intros of all time.
100%. It's absolutely incredible.
And that was one of Anthony's friends did that for us.
Yeah, so that intro is actually, we didn't, I tried to pay a friend kind of. My girlfriend's a nanny, and she nannied for a voiceover artist, and I had met him before. I've actually worked with him before, and then I just like emailed him. I was like, "Hey, would you want to do this silly thing? I'll get you a 6-pack or whatever." And he was like, "Don't worry about it. I got this." And he just like went in and killed it. And
oh man, it's so good. I remember when Brent shot me the first episode, and I like started listening, and I heard this like in a world. I was like, "What the fuck is this?" I was like, "This is some professional ass shit going on right here." No,
I think that's
great.
That's been one of the best things about this podcast too, is that it's been a really good creative outlet in general for us. Cause like I wrote that opening thing, and then I got to send it to Anthony, and like he did some revisions on it and stuff. And so being able to like shoot it off of each other and stuff too. Yeah. It's been a blast.
Yeah,
it seems like this has been a lot more collaborative than even I realized going in. Like obviously podcasting together in itself is collaborative, but hearing all the like back and forth and the brainstorming and the kind of pitching and all that kind of stuff. That's awesome. I mean, that's what this show is all about, is talking about how these creative processes happen. I think some people think that they can just grab 2 mics, sit down and start talking. And it's actually a lot more difficult than that.
Which is what we thought we were going to be able to do, and then we realized that too.
Yeah. That was exactly what we thought, and then we got started.
Yeah. And same. I mean, I've absolutely been there where I've been like, let's do this podcast thing, and then I ramble on for a couple hours, and I don't know what I'm talking about. And I'm like, well, that was a mess.
So I found Poptimism,
yes,
or Popism as well. It's the belief that pop music is as worthy of professional critique and interest as rock music.
Oh, that's
so.
I had a lot of guesses of what this was going to be, and
I should have let
0 of them were that.
Yeah.
So. But you know what? I can't wait for the first time that somebody writes like a comment on one of your guys' episodes and they're like, what the hell, man? This isn't about the worship of pop music.
This is not what I was expecting at all.
We actually went over music for an entire hour.
Right now.
We went in depth into our favorite band, Coheed and Cambria. And it was our lowest rated episode. So
bad idea. Really bad idea.
It was our lowest rated episode. We had 2 listeners, and it was us just going back through it.
Right.
Yeah. It wasn't great. We've learned we learned from our mistakes, though.
Yeah.
It's not like we also then later made a super boring Dungeons and Dragons that no one listened to either. Wait, no, we did do that. We did.
Yeah, sure did. Yeah.
Man, you guys have had some serious ups and downs, so that makes me ask, like, how long have you 2 been popping off at the mic together? I'm bringing it back. Back to the pop.
Well, we're at what? I think 14 episodes.
Yep, 14 episodes so far.
I think we're still kind of finding our groove in a way.
Sure.
A lot of it is us trying to like figure out what to talk about, because we both love so much stuff.
Sure.
But at the same time, it also feels like, especially when it started, there was like nothing happening. Like the world kind of came to a halt, especially in pop culture, because you couldn't produce anything.
Right.
No movies were being made. No, like the video games were coming out. So there's like a big, what do we talk about? And I think we're kind of coming into a time where it's going to be a little easier, because movies are starting to come back out. We had a lot of video games come out, which has been really fun to sort of talk about.
But the internet's been salty for decades.
Exactly.
So you guys have a good backlog to work with.
It's a good point. Yeah.
Literally just say the words "The Last Jedi" and watch the internet melt on itself.
True.
Somebody texted me. Yeah, so they texted me, quote, "The Last Jedi is a perfect movie." And I was like, I like instinctually looked around to see if anybody like heard or read it, to be like, okay, just respond real quick so nobody can see this. I don't want anybody mobbing me. I agree, though. It's really good.
It's literally the second best Star Wars movie, but I digress.
Oof. Is this a safe space for all of these words?
Hey, you have to keep it positive here. You're promoting Pop-Timistic.
Hey, no. I am only positive during recording time.
Yeah, it's
live.
true.
It does not count.
Sometimes I try to get him to get that gremlin energy in there, and he refuses. He's only got that Pop-Timistic energy.
Oh, man.
He's played a lot of Call of Duty with me lately, so he knows that I like get real aggressive and sassy real quick. So.
Yeah, just how edgy things get. I dig it. What has been a favorite discovery since shining the light on things that are typically revered as bad? Anything that you guys like came in being like, now I have to be positive, and by the end of that conversation, you're like, you know what? I actually kind of like this thing.
Ooh, go ahead.
No, I have. I'm formulating thoughts. If you want to go first.
Okay, cool. So there's a couple things. So Legion, I had given Legion like a shot at one point and wasn't very into it. And then Anthony wouldn't shut up about it.
That was a great pitch me, by the way. It made me want to watch it, and I will at some point.
And it's so good. There was that. There was something else that I did not want to be positive about at all. Oh, Wonder Woman. I thought it was going to be super difficult to be positive about Wonder Woman.
The first one or 1984? Because
1984.
Okay.
And
listen to that one.
And it wasn't even necessarily Anthony's doing, but the guest we had on that episode is just like super articulate about like feminism and other stuff. And I don't know what it was, but it uplifted me. I slightly want to rewatch the movie. I don't think I'm going to commit to doing that for like a year, but
I had to.
It made I know you had to. You had to watch it. But it made it easier to come around and like see the light on it. And that's the great thing about the energy of the podcast too, is there's a lot of stuff that I'm like, I don't know how this is going to go. And then once I start talking to Anthony about it, it's like, okay, we can do this. I got this.
I think it's rebounding the energy back and forth. And I mean, it's almost like, you know how they say that when you smile, like literally force yourself to smile, you feel happier. Mm-hmm. It's like, in a way, this is forcing us to smile and feel better about something. So even if we hate it and it was rough to go through just to do a podcast about it, we actually end up like, okay, like Pavlovian responses of like, oh, you know, this is okay, I can get through this. And I mean, honestly, I mean, when you look at it in any frame of there's something good about anything except maybe serial killers. I'm not going to go into that, but we like
they created True Crime podcast. There you go.
I also, yeah, exactly. I also
there it is.
I lost my train of thought.
Oh, sorry, derailed.
No, I actually go into a dead end of these things because I keep like having the same answer, which is like, oh, well, like people feel good about it. Like there's a community, like I was doing like Fortnite, and I was like, well, kids engage with it the way that I engage with video games as a child, and to see that is beautiful. So like I always do this thing where I like, and I have to break out of it and like get back into the challenge of like, no, what is good about this thing?
Yeah.
It's so tough, dude.
I thought your answer was going to be you rediscovered your love of the Matrix trilogy.
Yeah, it's true. You know,
you're welcome.
You know, I actually have Emerald is my fiance is almost like naturally a optimistic person about like movies and stuff. She loves bad movies and like unapologetically. So watching this stuff with her specifically, like we rewatched The Matrix, all the trilogy, and she was just like, yeah, I don't know why people are saying this sucks. And I was like, man, maybe I don't either.
It's kind of interesting. You guys were talking about like the energy that you bounce back and forth off of each other. I think the same is true for the internet. Like I walked out of The Last Jedi. I'll use that as the example, being like, I loved this. I loved Luke's arc personally. I loved where they took that character. Yeah. I loved this idea of him being disenfranchised from his religion when we thought we were expecting this like Christ-like hero in this movie finally after all these years. Yeah. And then, you open up Twitter and you're like, oh no.
That wave of it comes over. Like, did I actually like it?
Was I supposed to like this?
Yeah.
Crap.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you find yourself like weirdly defending it or hiding the fact that you like it. Yeah. And the same thing can be said of that energy that you guys bring to each other. You bring that positivity and it just feeds off of itself and it gets more and more and more. And it's infectious to be around those people. So I think your guys' show is so important for the internet, literally. Like if I could just make everyone listen to a couple episodes of this, I would. Make me president. That's it. That's the pitch.
Well, I think something we talk about too a lot is like just changing your mindset before you go into something too. Because we've talked about how you watch something. I think it was Superman for you, Anthony. We had talked about Man of Steel and how you need to rewatch that because and actually that was the episode that Aaron was on. Yeah. But sorry, that's kind of the whole thing is if even like there's enough good things that I can take out of a movie that like you didn't realize or recognize the first time you watched it, you can go back and have a different appreciation. And even if it still doesn't become your favorite movie or the greatest Superman movie you've ever seen, it makes you appreciate it and see it in a new light. And I think that has been a lot of fun because seeing things again that like I said, Legion didn't necessarily like take me away the first time I had tried to watch the first couple episodes, but then after discussing with Anthony and watching it, it was like a completely different show to me. The other one was that HBO show.
Raised by Wolves.
Thank you. I almost said Dances with Wolves.
Oh, also a good pitch.
That's also, yeah.
Yes, and because that was one that I watched up until I saw the penis helmets, and I was like, I don't want to watch it.
Which is literally 12 seconds.
First, like 45 seconds in, yeah. but then you talked about it, and I was like, all right, I got to try it. And but yeah, I think that's the most fun part is getting someone else's perspective first, and then being able to go back in it.
Well,
I mean, anytime you go try to watch a movie that you thought was bad in the past, if you sit down and saying, all right, let's give this piece of shit another shot, I guess, you're not going to have a good time. It's not going to get any better for you, right?
Exactly.
But if you try to bring in that new perspective, I think it really helps.
That's how I go into playing Escape from Tarkov with Brent. It's exactly those fucking words.
Well, let's see how this goes, I guess. All right, so that was us popping back in time. Let's talk about what's currently popping.
Hey.
What are some current plans for the show in 2021? Anything starting to pop?
You're reaching a little bit, but it's okay.
I'm going to reach on a lot of these, I promise.
I don't think we have a plan. Do we have a plan?
Yeah, no, the show's over. This is actually us announcing that it's done.
We're retiring. Good night, everybody.
It's been a good 14 episodes. Hope you all enjoyed the ride. We're out.
You guys are the Watchmen of podcasts. You had a perfect first season, and then you're like, yeah, I'm done.
Yeah, we're dipping early. It's fine. I think we just take it one at a time. We don't think about the future too much. We're very by the part of the problem of, I guess, producing it is that it's a very like current podcast. We've structured it so it's very like what is going on this week in our lives. And that, so we've tried to like break it up to try and produce it. We're like, maybe we can do segments and just record a bunch over here. And then and we just end up never doing that. We just always do it week by week. And that's sort of like the mentality overall and how we take each episode, down to the point where we're improving our advertisements.
And we're going to get to that in a little bit. I'm excited to talk about that.
So I don't know if we have a plan besides, it would be great, obviously, to get big enough to have real sponsorships. But other than that, like, we don't have a plan.
I think that's kind of the thing. Yeah, is we're just kind of moving forward, and we're gonna do what we've done already, which is kind of like continue to play with our formula and figure out what we think works best for us. I think honestly, we're still gonna have episodes in the future that we know no one's gonna listen to, because a big part of this podcast for us is it's for us.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know, just as much as we're putting it out for other people, one of the most gratifying pieces for me is getting to talk to Anthony every week, and we've had some really good like special reconnection, and so it's gonna just keep going, keep pushing forward, and then we'll see where it takes us. I think like kind of like what Anthony's saying, if we ever get big enough for like actual sponsorship and stuff, we'll probably have to staple down an actual formula and kind of like game plan it from there. But for now, we're just having fun, making 2021 not anything like 2020. So
there you go. I love it. So to bring that high note all the way down, what's been the hardest part about creating the show? Anything that's been proving difficult? I know we already talked about, like, not that this is the hardest thing in the world, but at the same time, it's not plug in two mics and go. What have been some of your guys' challenges in kind of creating this and figuring out your process and all that kind of stuff?
I would say, I don't want to say time, like it's only an hour, but it is time.
It's time.
It's one of the most difficult things about it, and I'm, as you know, with your 45 podcasts that you do, each one takes time. We edit our podcast before we put it out, because we sound like idiots if we don't. So we have to cut it down here and there. So there's time in editing. There's time in researching what we're going to do, what we're going to talk about, and also as someone who's just has. I know I've freely talked about this before. I struggle with depression and stuff. And so it's motivation, like just being able to like get up on a Sunday morning and be like, yeah, I want to do this. Like that is the hardest part, is just being able to push through on the tough days.
Yeah.
Because
to be completely honest,
it can be, there's also times where it's like, it's hard to do it still.
Yeah.
I mean, to be totally frank and no insult, Brent, but I thought you were going to be the one who was going to cave first and say, let's not do an episode. That was 100% me this last weekend. I just was like, I can't do it this weekend. I'm just not feeling like it. I'm just like not here. And so we had to take a mental health week and skip an episode. So I'm just like, it's really, it's just time. And especially, I mean, Brent's a dad, his kid just turned 1, which was adorable, and taking time away from that, his kid got sick. Like, he still was working through this too. I mean, the podcast 2 weeks ago or a week and a half ago was his kid and his wife were sick. So like, it's finding the time to put the energy out there is and be positive. Like it's not just like put on a performance. It's like we have to actively like try, which is really nice though. But I do actually, one of the worst parts for me is like I crash afterwards.
Sure.
Like I emotionally crash. Like I'll be like happy and talking and like animated and come out, and I'll just get in this funk. And Emerald's like, what is wrong with you? I'm like, I don't know, man. I was too happy.
My wife asked me the same thing. She's like, I thought you enjoyed doing this. I was like, no, I do. It's just like, it's something that is difficult about, like you said, you put on a personality for the podcast because you want to be entertaining. You want to be, your best self for it. And then there's this whole other exertion of energy of being positive about shit you don't necessarily want to be positive about.
Yeah.
But we do it because it is good. And we enjoy doing it. And it makes me feel good that we do that stuff. But man, some days it's just harder to do it.
But that is the process of creation. You go through those, like the highs, and then it's like the drags of editing and the time, and then the lows, and like, oh, maybe you see that that last episode didn't do so well. So then you are like, well, okay, well, I'm still working on this one, and you put it up and like do all this, and you're like, okay, now I got to go get some sleep so I work in the morning. But then after that, it comes out, you see the tweets, and like, it's like you feel accomplished, and suddenly, okay, you're back. And it's like always that ride. It's so interesting, just the process of creation.
Yeah. One that I definitely know well, of coming out and just not knowing exactly like what you've just been through and all those. Brent, you mentioned briefly like bouts with depression and things like that. Is that where the idea of constantly talking about mental health on the show also came out of? Because that's something you guys are really big into. You will talk about the suicide prevention hotline. You guys will absolutely talk openly about mental health and encouraging people taking care of their mental health. Where did that conversation kind of come in? Because it's awesome to have this like really light podcast with a lot of really good humor, and then you guys will stop and you'll make it very intentional to speak to your audience on this. So where did that kind of come from?
So originally when we were talking about how we wanted to do our ad breaks, because we were trying to figure out what we wanted to do, we knew that we wanted to do some funny stuff, but then we knew we wanted to be serious about some stuff. And yeah, the mental health aspect to me was always huge because, like I said, it's something that I've struggled with. I know Anthony has had struggles he's gone through and stuff. And so it's also something that we didn't really think was being talked about enough in the space of podcasts in general. And even if we're not reaching like a large audience, it's something that's important enough to talk about. And I think we just kind of agreed that we wanted to make sure we had some serious stuff that we pushed through, because we knew we were going to be laughing and have a good time for the most part, but we knew we wanted to make an impact with at least one thing. And I think that was, especially after our first episode, we had a handful of people reach out to us just like saying thank you for making that message clear. And so it's been cool. It's nice to have that little serious piece that touches people's hearts.
Yeah. Well, that, and especially mental health, was personal with both you and I, but it was also something that, I mean, originally the reason why we created the podcast was because we're all kind of in a funk. Like we're all stuck at home or whatever, like, and not connecting with other people as we should be. And like, having those mental health, like I even work from home is amazing, but like after a while I felt myself get into an absolute depression and like a rut, and I was not treating Emerald as well as she should have, and like I wasn't treating myself. So it's like the world is kind of going through that. That's what we wanted to talk about just a little bit, and just take care of yourself. It's okay, just take care of yourself, normalize it, take care of yourself. And then every week we kind of take it now like, oh, well, should we stick with that's our default. Should we stick with mental health this week, or do we want to talk about something like maybe more meaningful or different? Or and so we started to branch out a little bit, but it just because of where I think the world is, that's what we've been defaulting to, and also just because it's a personal issue. But we do like to highlight other issues, absolutely. So
yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. So we talked about the hardest part. What's been your favorite part about creating the show specifically? Like the actual creation process, or even if it's like a segment that you just love to do every single week. What's been kind of your guys' favorite?
I just love to talk about what I love.
I mean, so honestly, I am not as good with words as Anthony is. Anthony can go on and talk about stuff really articulately.
Too much.
Too much. No, not too much. You say all the right things, baby. I'm more of a silly boy, and I like to be silly, and I think that's apparent. But I think one of my favorite parts is doing the ads and trying to make Anthony and or our guest laugh. Mm-hmm. That's kind of where the most joy for me comes in the podcast, is trying to make people laugh. So,
well, you're great at it.
Oh, stop.
This guy.
This guy right here. Am I right? For the audio listeners, I'm pointing down. Gotta describe that stuff. Next segment, the future looks Pop-Timistic. Let's talk about a little bit about the future. I know you guys said you kind of take this week to week, but just kind of curious. Any big plans for 2021? Now that you've had some episodes under your belt, is there anything that you guys have thought through that you're like, oh, this would be cool?
Well, we're already making plans for when movies come out.
Nice.
I'm already going to light a candle on Godzilla versus Kong.
Yeah.
You're pre-lighting that candle. Ready to go.
I'm getting that lighter ready.
Love it.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have a couple like we want to go back to. We can do like Godzilla before that happens, because Godzilla like was 25% rad ass movie, 75% boring ass human shit. And we can go back and light a candle on that. Like we can introduce. So I'm just really glad that we're sort of getting back into the swing of things, and things are going to start coming out, because that gives us sort of prompts. We can go back and do that kind of stuff. So it's honestly hardest when nothing is happening to even go back and think like, what can we like talk about? I don't know why. It's for me hardest. I like to have like prompts or like something current happening.
Sure.
Yeah. So our biggest plans are to intake as much media as possible and output as much content as possible. We also have plans to interview, who was it? Chris Evans. We're going to interview Chris Evans. Plans. They're not going to actually work out most likely, but it was
a plan.
Yeah, it's a plan. Yeah.
Yeah.
That one, and there was someone else too, but I can't remember who it is now. So,
Anthony, this comment's also for you.
Yeah.
Save Mothra.
Why did you say that? Or
why did you say that
name? Yeah, I swung for the fences with my Godzilla vs. Kong call, and I think you're with me there, Aaron.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I think it's good. If you could have anyone on your show, who would it be and why?
I have it. Brent, do you have it? I'll let you think.
Also, I'm with you, Anthony. Just go back to the Kong versus Godzilla. I actually think it's Mecha Godzilla and not Mecha Ghidorah, but
I mean, probably
Ghidorah would make more sense.
Yeah, because literally it's the brain from Ghidorah that he took.
No, I mean, it makes sense, but you've seen these movies, so it'll probably be Mecha Godzilla because toys.
Yeah.
So
1,000%. But to the question, I would have Kevin Smith, and the reason why is, for me personally, he was the one who inspired this podcast. I went through a like 1 or 3 year phase of listening to like everything he put out. It was and the reason why, and actually light a candle, is from what he says, which is why curse the darkness when you can light a candle. I was getting into a really like salty like way about things. I was feeling down about what I loved, and then listening to him, he only talks about good things and like things that he loves, and he tries to make light of these things like that. When he was struggling with the DCEU, he was like, you can tell that he didn't like the movies, but he's still trying to like be positive. He's like, these are things that we love, these are things we wanted as children, and we have them now, like let's at least appreciate that. So his message came, like that's what the original podcast idea was. The light a candle was because of Kevin Smith. So for me it would be him, and like I've had so many like weird like connections to him that I've almost run into him. Like he almost went to a party I was at. I missed a talk that he had a heart attack the night I was supposed to go see him. So it's like this weird thing, and I want him to I just want to finally meet him, even though he's making shit movies. He's so happy doing it. He's making movies he cares about. Like he's kind of my idol. Like I want to write and direct movies, kind of like Aaron. And I went to film school for all that, and like he's kind of my idol. He just does things the way he wants to do things, and he doesn't give a shit. He's just happy. He's just making a life for himself, and it's just like, it's so heroic in a way. Like he's not Chris Hemsworth looking hot and making millions of dollars, like doing blockbuster movies. He's just doing what he fucking loves, man. And like that to me is just beautiful. And I'm there for it.
I'd take Chris Hemsworth abs too, though.
Oh yeah.
I don't even need the money in the movies. Just the rock hard abs, I guess. I don't know.
Aaron hates Kevin Smith. So
I hate Kevin Smith.
Oh, do you really?
No, not at all. I have actually met, not to just name drop, but I've actually met Kevin Smith so many times now that the last time I saw him in LA, I was in a comic book shop and he came up to me and said hi.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
He is genuinely one of my favorite human beings on the planet. The man, what you're saying about how he treats media and how he treats these things he loves, he treats humans that way.
That's beautiful.
Like, I've given Kevin Smith 3 hugs in my life, and it's been just the greatest, warmest feeling ever. And when we ran into him in Fort Collins, me and Brent, I took him to Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, and we did the meet and greet afterwards, and recognized me from the last time we saw each other in LA, and gave me a big hug then. Talked about how great it was to see me. So he's just been one of those people that's been incredible. I've met him, I don't know, like 7 times over the course of 10 years, and it's just been like gotten better and better and better every single time I've talked with him, and he's absolutely incredible. And genuinely, like what you were saying, I was just biting my tongue the entire time. Like, he is absolutely my idol. He's the reason I create things. He's the reason I'm doing this. So if I could have somebody on this show, you better believe that's who it'd be.
He's got an incredible legacy of like people like us just growing up on an evening with Kevin Smith, and then moving into his podcast, and then just doing these things because he's inspired us. Like, honestly, I would have that legacy over like what I wanted as a kid, which is like to be Brad Pitt,
Right.
I honestly would be incredibly happy to be a Kevin Smith.
I think if anybody should replace the Stan Lee cameo in the MCU, it's him.
Oh yeah,
damn, that's a good idea.
That's a great idea.
Thank you.
All right, I'm writing Hollywood.
I actually thought this comment would have come from Rob, but it's actually Mel. Chris Hemsworth is her guy, and that's
Chris
fair.
Hemsworth, from all accounts, is a really good dude. So I wasn't trying to put him down or anything.
Oh no, he's
really good.
Nobody thought that. Brent, you now get to answer this question after we just gushed on Kevin Smith for 10 minutes.
So I won't talk nearly as long about mine. This is funny. Anthony and I had this discussion at one point because I was like, if this goes really, really well, and you could have anyone on, who would it be? And he said his answer.
It wasn't Kevin Smith at the time. I don't even remember, but I should have said that.
Yeah, I don't remember who he said either. I think it's one of the McElroy brothers, but
that's right.
I said, and I will stick to this answer, Henry Cavill, because of that ass, and because he's a huge nerd. So
it would be really fun to finally sit down and not talk about how he's hot and buff and like literally dig into all the nerdy stuff he's into.
His brain is hot and buff.
Seriously.
Ugh.
Speaking of another good dude,
Chris Hemsworth is everybody's guy, except for not. I'd take Henry Cavill over him. Just saying.
I agreed, 100%.
Let's just get it.
You want to build a PC with Henry Cavill?
Oh god, that would get me into PC gaming. Was building a PC with Henry Cavill.
God, that sounds great. I think I had a dream like that one time.
Oh. It was like the scene from Ghost, but it's just Henry Cavill around you helping you build a PC.
A GPU just sticking it into the slot.
He's like, now mount the fan.
Oh. Wow.
Do what with the water cooling?
Oh, man. So you guys absolutely kill it together. Is there any chance for other content creation from you two in the future outside of Pop-Timistic? Any other things that you guys would love to try to create together?
Well, I mean, not together, but I'm creating another podcast.
How?
I know. I'm cheating on Brent with another podcast.
So sharp when he said it. Not together.
Not together. But yeah, I'm creating another podcast with Maggie, who was a guest on for the Wonder Woman episode.
Oh, nice.
And we're gonna do. We're basically gonna pretend that we were hired to rewrite a movie, and those movies that we pick are like under 60% on Rotten Tomatoes. So our first episode, that when it launches, we don't have a date yet, but maybe in about a month, was Wonder Woman 84, which is why I had to rewatch it, because we'd taken notes on what to rewrite, and it's called Extreme Movie Makeover, and I'm excited for that.
Another brilliant name. I hate you for it.
That was it. She did that. She actually also picked Flixer Upper first. And that was already I know. I was really impressed. That was already a podcast though. So.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
I think Anthony forgot to mention that we do plan on doing some Pop-Timistic streams and kind of.
Well, I was leaving that for you to talk about, my good sir.
Sure, Dick.
Daddy's mad. I'm in the doghouse.
It's fine. I'll yell at you privately later. But yeah, no. So we plan to do some stuff expanding on that a little bit. We haven't really decided where we're at. How we're going to do it. If we're going to do one channel, two channels. If we're going to use both of our separate channels and combine Twitch power. I don't know how Twitch works that well. Follow me on Twitch, Stealth526. You'll be there for my very first stream. It'll definitely be Escape from Tarkov, and you'll probably hate watching it.
He's actually really good at Escape from Tarkov. I die in the first 30 seconds, and then I just like tail behind Brent and take his. I'm a meat shield.
Oh, everybody needs to get meat shield though, so at least you're proficient at that. That was me lighting a candle and you being bad at that game.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right, that brings me to my next segment. Get inspired, motherfucker.
That's really
this
aggressive.
is the segment where we are going to go ahead and talk to anybody who's interested in content creation. Part of the reason I started this show is there's so many people out there that think they need like a massive following or something like that to even try to do this. So this is a way to just kind of inspire people to go out and do their own thing and try to take on that thing they've always wanted to do. So first is, do you have any advice for starting a podcast with a friend specifically? I think content creation with friends can go one of two ways. It can be really simple and smooth and awesome, or it can be one person thinks that they know all the best ideas and they can cause a lot of conflict. So any advice for you guys on starting a podcast together after like a very long time friendship?
Yeah, I would say be willing to compromise on things. Like,
good one.
100%. Like, don't always think that every episode has to go the way that like you necessarily want it to, or only talk about the stuff that you want to talk about. Like, be willing to have that give and take and know that two heads are going to be better than one. Because if we did all of just my ideas, we would have less listeners than we do now. Which
I don't know about that.
I do for sure.
Yeah, compromise is a good one. I would say go in with the intent to have fun.
Yeah.
And not try to just like gain an audience, because people are there for the energy that you bring, and if the energy that you bring isn't to enjoy what you're doing, then they're not going to enjoy.
They pick up on it quick, right?
Yeah.
Nice.
I'd say another good thing to do, because this is something that Anthony and I did when we started it too, is we talked about what we wanted to get out of it and see if everything that you want aligns with what the other person wants, and see if you guys are kind of shooting for the same things realistically.
Yeah.
Because it's like, if you're looking to get two different things out of it, your podcast is going to go in a real weird direction real quick. So
that's actually really good advice. I dig that.
That is a good point. Yeah.
Sorry. One of my least favorite things that anybody can do, and I just did it. Don't say the word actually when you're surprised, because it makes it sound like that person should not have good ideas. Wow, that's actually an intelligent point, Brent. It is genuinely one of the douchiest words you can put into a conversation when you're shocked by a good idea.
Oh, it was actually a pleasure being here.
So anyways, that's my advice to people. Don't say actually to ideas ever. Oh, wow, that's actually a good point.
Yeah.
It immediately ruins it.
For me, also, I would say to mind your talk time. I personally, so the first 3 or 4 episodes, I just talked so much that literally when I was editing, I looked at the timeline. I was like, dude, there's so many waves on mine and none on yours. I was like, I need to just chill. So it's I think just sort of self-reflection of what do I bring to the podcast? And how can I also highlight what's going on the other side? What are people bringing to it?
Another thing you want to make sure is, especially when you're doing it with a friend, is you want to make sure it's someone that you know how to give positive criticism to, and that you can receive constructive criticism from. Because that's something that we do at the end of episodes too. Is we'll talk to each other about what could I have done better that episode? Like, don't tap on the goddamn desk so much. It's picking up on the mic nonstop. So we have a lot of stuff that we try to make sure that we're being constructive with each other, but also make sure it's someone you can do that with and not feel like they're berating you or you're berating them.
You'll never get out of the first episode, right? The first time somebody gives you criticism and you're pissed, or vice versa. That's the end of it.
And just
or you'll never correct each other and you'll just have a bad time.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to trust the other person, and that doesn't mean just trust. It means trusting in that you're going to make something together good. Do it well.
Yeah. Because if you want a podcast to go the way you want it to go, then you should have just made a podcast by yourself. Like, you got to be willing to work with the person you're going to make it with. So make it work or get the fuck out.
Or you're gone. What advice do you have for people who want to create but are worried about internet toxicity? That thing that your show literally battles. Now, when you're starting out, I think one of the first things to note is you won't have any, because you won't have a following, and that's okay. Nobody knows who you are, and it's fine. But do you guys have any advice to the concept of internet toxicity as you start creating content, or at least even just being gripped by that anxiety?
Anthony, you look like you were going to say something really deep. So.
Oh, really?
You did.
I'm dragging it. I'm scraping the bottom of the barrel here. I struggle with that a lot because I start internet fights. I on Twitter it'll just find idiots spouting stuff about politics, and I will jump in on it, and then I really enjoy it, and then I get a high from it, and then I get really salty and toxic for the rest of the day.
So how do you combat that? You get in it. You get your hands dirty.
Oh,
you participate. You make them feel so stupid for their toxicity that they run away.
I'm a digital bully. I don't know.
So can I step in here?
Yes, please.
Okay. Don't worry about the internet toxicity at all. Because first and foremost, it's just people's opinions. And people's opinions don't matter. And especially if you are having fun creating the thing that you're doing, if it's something that brings you joy and lifts you into a better place and a better plane of existence, then it doesn't matter. Nothing that any internet troll is going to say to you or type on their computer because they don't have the cojones to actually say it to someone in real life. It doesn't matter. Have fun doing what you're doing and don't worry about people and their bad reviews. Give me 1 star, call me a dipshit. I don't
move on.
Say I got a big nose. Do what you want. You can't stop me.
Good thing is they can't see our noses.
That's true. Well, now they can. Now it's publicly displayed.
My nose is exposed. My SOAT profile.
My nose is exposed.
I was gonna say that. And even if you think about it in an audience perspective and you want to grow your audience and you're looking at it from that perspective, it's a numbers game. Say 90% of the people that ever hear your podcast are going to either hate it or be indifferent. And you're looking for the 5 to 10% that will listen, enjoy what they hear, and keep listening. So there's a huge swath of people in there. Half of the people alive are probably pretty terrible people. So by the numbers, you're going to run into a ton of people who are just going to come at you if you are successful. That's just how it is. So just don't mind it and do what Brent says. Do your thing. Be happy with what you're doing. And the people and for every troll that tweets you, there's probably 3 people who are listening and enjoying and just aren't tweeting you.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. It's people that want to say negative stuff are the people that are going to say stuff. Because a lot of times people just don't write positive stuff. It's because it's hey, I enjoyed this.
On Yelp or Google Maps reviews,
anything.
People will review bomb. And that's what happens to you on Twitter or whatever, you on the internet. People go online because they're angry, and that motivates you to go be an asshole. But, I like that. That's cool. Well, I'm just not going to do anything. You won't hear from those people because they'll just like it.
I have family that does not like our podcast, and they've told me. So... Who cares? Whatever.
Yeah.
I bet I can name those family members.
My wife doesn't like
my wife says my podcast is stupid.
No.
Awesome. Well, now
she's a great lady.
I want to introduce a brand new segment to this show. just for you guys.
Oh.
And by brand new, I mean I completely ripped you off.
Excellent.
Welcome to Now a Word from our sponsors.
Oh, no.
This is my favorite segment of the show. You guys always do Now a Word from our sponsors where it's completely made up. So I want to do it. I want to do this with you because I found it to be so much fun when we did this on your guys' show. For those listening, audio listeners, or anybody watching right now, in the Pop-Timistic podcast, they do a word from our sponsor. But instead of actual sponsors, they completely make something up, and it's absolutely hysterical. The first episode was avocados. I'll never forget. And I was like, what the hell is this? I'm loving this. So we're going to do now a word from our sponsors. Brent and Anthony, hands up for rock, paper, scissors. It's 1, 2, 3, shoot on who gets to go first. And ready? 1, 2, 3, shoot. Scissors. Go again. 1, 2, 3, shoot. You guys are really good at this. Go again. 1, 2, 3, shoot. Anthony wins, so Brent gets to go first.
Perfect. Sorry, my wife walked in and was talking to me. Existing.
So, which of us is going to give him the prompt? So that's how we usually prompt each other.
Anthony, I will let you give him the prompt.
Excellent. I have one. Okay.
Because I didn't prep him.
You have to sell me on the pile of extra charging cords that you keep in your closet. And it's just like, you know how like phones, tablets, whatever, charging cord, like controllers, like just that box of charging cords you have there.
Because everything comes with a cord. It's true. You either have a box or a drawer somewhere with just charging.
I have 2 massive boxes full of absolute crap I'll never use.
Cool. Is your office too tidy? Are all of your cords too neatly put together? Box of cords. I got a box of cords for you. What do? Take your nice new cords, throw them in the box, leave them for a week, they get tangled. You'll never know which cord goes to what device. Will you need to frustratedly dig through it for hours to figure out which one goes to your iPhone? Yes. Will you want to hang yourself with one of these cords by the end? Absolutely. Box of cords.
Is that like a subscription service, or is that something I can just do a sort of one-off?
Yes, sir. The cord drawer. It is a real thing.
One-off. So one easy payment of your life. Long soul, just...
All right, Brent. Now you get a prompt, Anthony, and while that's happening, chat, look at me. Look at me. Look at me. You guys can prompt me, and I'll do it.
Anthony always gives me those weird, obscure ones. Like
I know. I really try to come up with
but also, you guys think of one for me, because sometimes my chat really lets me down. So.
Oh, that's fine.
Sorry, guys.
Oh, sad.
Real.
Oh.
These are the moments that we edit out in the podcast, is us thinking of things to challenge each other with.
I'm not going to. I love the process. That's part of it.
You know those stylus for your phone? The stylus is for your phone?
Yes.
But this is just a sharpened edge.
Is your phone near the warranty date? And you haven't taken advantage of it yet? For $60, you can absolutely damage your phone and get a new one. Take advantage of your warranty. Use our stylus.
I love it.
I like it.
I just had a very specific pitch on that one.
That was. All right, chat. You got 10 seconds. Otherwise, I'm going to have Anthony or Brent give me a, what did you call it? A prompt.
Prompt.
Tell me down. Rob, Mel, you guys have been fairly active tonight. What do you got? Any prompts? Any prompts?
Too much pressure. I can't work like this.
Too much pressure. It can't work like this. That's fair. Okay. Brent, you got one?
I say you do a play on one of the classic podcast commercials that seems to be the sponsor for everything. Do something that's similar to MeUndies.
Something similar to Me.
Like MeUndies, but go ahead.
Me Bundies, and it's cummerbunds.
MeUndies, but cummerbunds.
Yeah.
Okay, I got this. Do you find yourself Needing cummerbunds on at least a monthly basis? Well, try Cumberbun Me. We'll send you cummerbunds every single month. Do they last forever? No, they don't.
Good.
But you'll have them for every prom, for every month, for every wedding, for every funeral. You'll look like a jackass wearing a cummerbund to a funeral, but you can with Cumberbun Me.
I hope you're still not going to proms. That was my first thought.
Some poor high school kid.
Cumberbund.
I'm going to make Anthony do one more for us because one didn't come to the comments. Pitch me a prompt creator.
Oh, shit.
Ooh.
Are you really bad at improv? I am. So what we just coded a machine that scours the internet for the most obscure things, like for instance, an empty whiskey bottle, or a
jar made of cats.
A jar.
Yeah,
a jar made of cats.
Hold on, I need to know the logistics.
Yeah, wait a second.
Mel in the chat is a vet, and I don't think she appreciates. Are these cats alive? I need to know more about this jar.
They were at some point.
Oh God, you're killing it.
I think that's it. I think we're moving on from.
I think we're done. All right, welcome to
Mel,
my.
You might enjoy
segment,
this though.
Rapid fire. This is where I just pop questions at you guys, and you have to pop answers right back to me. I didn't even mean to say pop that time.
It's just on the brain.
Yeah, I've said it too many
brain.
times at this point. At this point, so typically I only have one guest on, and then they answer and we just move on. I want you guys to just answer whatever comes first. If you guys even talk over each other, it doesn't really matter. And then I may stop and dig a little bit deeper on your guys' answers since there's two of you. So, are you guys ready for rapid fire?
Okay. Yes.
Best flavor of popcorn.
White cheddar.
Nice.
God, you're slow.
Brent's quick. Best soda pop.
Coke.
Oh.
God, look at you guys. Best line in Big Papa.
What the fuck is Big Papa?
By Notorious B.I.G. I like it when you call me Big Papa.
I like it. The best line is, I like it when you call me Big Papa.
I mean,
throw your hands in the air like you true players.
Okay.
Now I just need a dramatic reading of that song by Brent.
Ooh, next episode.
Ooh.
Who's a better FPS player?
Me.
He is.
Brent, I love that you admitted that. PlayStation or Xbox?
PlayStation.
Xbox.
Ooh, Anthony's right. Android or iPhone?
Android.
iPhone.
And Brent's right. Brent or Anthony?
Brent.
Anthony.
I knew you guys would do that one. And now it's time to hear from our listeners. This is the point of the show where if you have been watching live, you can go ahead and hit up questions in chat. I'll give you guys a few minutes to do this, especially because we're on a delay and I didn't think about that.
Oh yeah, when I was watching, I was like madly typing. I was like, "Oh, I bet he's on a delay."
Yep, I was. That's my bad. So I need to get better at that. So I'm going to let these guys kind of plug a couple of things real quick while you guys ask questions in the chat. Get them in there. If not, no big deal.
I'd like to plug the 10 empty whiskey bottles that I don't throw out, and they're just in my liquor cabinet for like no reason.
When you were like proms and I saw you do this and you were like empty whiskey bottles. I'm like, well, there's an empty whiskey bottle literally right there. I thought you looked at it and you made eye contact.
Oh, no, they're hidden
Okay.
inside.
You were
My
just
shame is
He just constantly
closeted.
thinks about whiskey.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not wrong.
Anything you guys actually want to plug? Any channels? You were talking
Oh.
about podcast launching next month.
This is a good question from Mel.
Here we go. What's been the hardest thing on your show to be positive about? Mel, start watching this show live more. What a great question.
Ouch.
Wonder
I have
Woman
to go
was
through
one of the
our
hardest ones
episodes.
for me. Wonder Woman 84 was really difficult for a couple of reasons, but we made it through. Gosh, there's been a lot of stuff that's been kind of difficult to talk about. What's that awful movie? Anthony's really good at not saying anything positive, so
I am. I think I'm more salty than he is, just sort of outside of. What did we? I'm trying to like find our actual things that we did. Man, that's a good fucking question. I'm trying to be optimistic with this question.
Wonder Woman 84 has a really good score.
Ooh,
oh, that's true. Yeah.
That's
Yeah. The score was great.
Look at that. There was I'm trying to think of one of the ones for Anthony since he can't seem to remember what we've spoken about ever.
I have the memory of a goldfish. As soon as I say it, it leaves my brain.
I just forgot. What was that?
Did you not hear me?
That was a joke. I said I forgot what you said.
Wow.
And then we. Okay.
Oh wow.
You can listen to it on the playback. It's fine.
I think for me it was M. Night Shyamalan was pretty tough because I used to love him, and now not so much.
What a fall from grace, huh?
I've heard that he's found a niche. So,
just Avatar Airbender movies? Is that his niche? You should just make that different styles.
There was a really, to me, funny one, but it was a really dark for Brent period where I told him about the Dexter series finale.
Oh.
Yeah, that was rough for me.
That was a pretty dark moment, and we had to move past that one.
Rob in the chat did that for me, but it was liberating. I was like, I release myself from ever finishing this show.
Oh, honestly, damn,
bullet dodge. To light a candle on it. So
yeah,
man,
that's gonna be really difficult for me. But mine was still Wonder Woman 84. That was one of the harder ones for me to be positive about the entire time. I even had to text Anthony before it. I told him, I was like, I don't know how well I'm going to be positive about this movie.
Yeah,
that was really hard for me.
Rob from Mad Robot HD says, "Is there one thing you could never light a candle on?"
I'm not going to say anything I was about to say. Honestly, I would like to think no, there's not. I like to think that no matter what, we would be able to find a way to light a candle on it. I'd love to hear some suggestions though. If you think there's something that's too far past us. We
have a couple that we've like written down for later, but like we need like hard hitting ones. Because like the ones it's tough when we make the challenge because we like think about like in the back of your mind you're like, well, what wouldn't be so hard? Could I just talk about this? Or let's not do that one. It's too hard. And it's like we need to be like challenged and it needs to be hard so that we can really. That's part of the fun is how hard it is.
Can you light a candle on Mission Impossible 2?
Oh my
Rob,
God.
I know you got some snark in there, baby. Let's go. Get some things in here to see if they can light a candle on it. I like this challenge we got going on. Mission Impossible 2. Can you light a candle on that?
Oh yeah, dude. I as a kid didn't realize how bad that movie was, and I rewatched the last part where they get on motorbikes, and I watched that so many times. And then they have the fight in the sand, and it's kind of badass. It's so stupid. And I love when he pulls off, it's so cheesy. I love when he pulls off the face and they do that whole reveal, but it's like John Woo style. So there's like doves and a mask and his fucking rock music and slow-mo. And it was just like so much. Last Jedi, we don't have to light a candle on that. That shit's so good.
Yeah, I'll light a candle on it. It's easy. It's literally everything but some of the stuff at Canto Bight. There you go. I lit a candle.
Yeah, that's true.
Green Lantern with Ryan Reynolds.
Jeez.
Okay, so
jeez.
The best thing about Green Lantern is that Ryan Reynolds can poke fun about it afterwards and then give you a greater appreciation for the movie.
Yeah, we got a really good joke in Deadpool because of Green Lantern.
That's exactly it.
Actually, a couple really good jokes in Deadpool because of Green Lantern.
And let's be honest, just Ryan Reynolds. Getting to look at Ryan Reynolds for any amount of time, win.
Blade Trinity was not a good movie, but holy shit, did I like watch that movie over and over just to see his abs and have him talk so many dirty words at me.
I'm going to change this to Ghost Rider 2.
I have not seen Ghost Rider 2.
I saw one, not two.
Okay, well then can you guys light a candle on one? I just assumed 2 was worse.
Getting to not see Nick Cage's face for a while because it's a skeleton face.
Shake it off, Brent. Shake it off. Here.
I don't remember the movie that well.
Anytime that Nick Cage swings for the fucking fence is awesome. Like even watching him fail and be extremely bad is so entertaining. And you can't like shit on that, because boy is he something to behold.
He sure is trying, isn't he?
Yeah.
I'll say this, and this might not hold up at all, but the way I would light a candle on that one is when he first transforms into Ghost Rider.
Oh yeah.
He commits so hard, and he like maniacally laughs and screams, and I don't know what he's doing with that scene, but hot damn if I don't love it.
That's what I'm saying.
Nick Cage, man.
He bats for the fences, man. Like he doesn't.
He's like, you know what? I don't know if this is gonna be good, but I'm gonna go as hard as I can.
He has no shame. He just goes. And like,
I'll give you guys one. Justice League.
I didn't watch it.
Okay, I did recently. Yeah, no,
I encouraged him to watch it so he could have something to compare the Snyder cut to.
Yes.
Oh, I'm going to do that too. Yeah. Oh, we should do this when the Snyder cut comes out. Yeah, rewatch it and compare. That's absolutely okay. Episode idea. I'm gonna write it down.
That sounds cool. Can't wait to watch it again.
Yeah, we have this cool Zack.
You don't have to watch it again. You can just watch the Zack Snyder cut.
Can you light a candle on Justice League?
My wife likes it. Yeah, totally. I think that there's some stuff that was well thought out.
Wow.
Can you name one of them?
Can't be more specific than that. No, there was a fight that I really enjoyed, and I remember because my wife made me watch it twice. But I don't remember exactly which one it is because I did not pay full attention to the movie.
Oh shit! I hope you guys have both seen this one. This is a really difficult one.
Why?
Can you light a candle on Halle Berry's Catwoman? I watched this for the first time this year. Well, no, 2020, I guess technically, but I did a full Batman run. I did every Batman movie out there, and was ended up being a part of it. And even though he's not in it, I did this to myself.
Okay. I love the fact that she won a Razzie and an Oscar in the same year.
Oh yeah, that's a good call.
And I love that she brought the I think this was Halle Berry. I might be misremembering, but I believe she brought the Oscar with her to the Razzies to accept the Razzie.
99% sure you're correct on that.
And I adore that. Also, we got that absolutely incredible playground scene. Iconic.
When you say incredible, you're talking about the scene where she basically makes like I love with a guy while playing basketball, while surrounded by poor children that they're supposed to be there voluntarily helping. That's the scene.
And she does this like aerobics thing
and walk away from.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's so.
It's certainly
it's good.
There's no other way to put it. It's certainly the horniest basketball scene in existence.
You clearly didn't watch Space Jam.
And Barry's like doing flips and oh my god.
I don't know, Aaron, if you caught what Brent said, but holy shit, I just want to say, Brent, good one, dude.
What'd you say?
I said you clearly didn't watch Space Jam.
Oh,
so good.
That was solid. Damn it.
I would give it, and this is another default of mine, but I would give it that I'm glad that we got it so that we don't have to do that kind of thing again. I'm glad that they got that out of their system, realized that's not what they needed, and to move on to a different type of storytelling.
Okay.
Because honestly, without maybe that movie, who knows if we have gotten Batman Begins. You know?
Sure. Yeah, and they were like, "Whoa, okay, full reset." But I don't. Yeah. My bad. Let's try this again.
That's what I'm saying. If they didn't get all that shit out of their system, we might still have it.
Can you guys
light for this stuff for like light a candle stuff? It's like I have to rewatch it to see what I can pull out of it. I don't know if I would want to rewatch that one.
Yeah, you guys still take suggestions on Twitter on what you guys should try to light a candle on?
Yep.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, please.
100%.
Hitting up your Twitter with Catwoman.
We're gonna have 7 people just say Catwoman. Yeah.
That's actually why we did the Matrix when we did the Matrix. So
yeah, that was one of the big ones people wanted us to do.
Okay.
Which I don't regret.
I just watched the first one, which is not something to light a candle on. That movie still holds up.
Oh,
still great.
Yeah.
But now, I got to go back and I got to watch 2 and 3. So, well,
60% of 2 and 3 holds up.
Okay, I'm excited. That does it for our show. Let's tell everybody where they can find you guys at on Twitter. Brent, why don't you go first? Give that plug.
Tattooed_nerd. That is tattooed_nerd.
Now
I
spell
don't know
it
if you
out
know this.
for me.
Brent has tattoos and is a nerd, so it makes perfect sense. Go follow him at tattooed_nerd. And Anthony, where can the good people find you at?
I am Pirate Cat because I have a cat who sits on my shoulders like a pirate. And I have tattoos and I'm a nerd, but I'm not.
Pirates notoriously sit on people's shoulders?
Parrots? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
It's not
sorry,
parrot
I meant
cat.
I meant to say like a parrot on
Yeah,
a
that was
pirate.
confusing.
I'm just kidding. I just wanted to
apologize. That was
yeah, you love cats and are in fact a pirate. That's how you came up with the name Pirate Cat. You can also follow their show at Pop_Timistic, Timistic. Of course, all of this will be in the show notes. Guys, thanks so much for coming on and hanging out. This was awesome.
Thank you for having us.
Everything I
Thank you so
expected it to
much.
be after being on your guys' show a couple months ago. I was like, this is going to be a good time. And that's what I care
gonna
about.
be on it again.
Yeah,
I actually enjoyed this.
good. You son of a. And that does it for our show, everybody. Of course, if you don't mind, hit us up on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. I'm trying to get to 100 subs and then I'll stop talking about this. I just want the freaking unique URL. Help me out. Otherwise, we'll see you guys next week. I'll be announcing the guest on Twitter. Of course, you can always find me on Twitter at Aaronseney, AARONSEANEY. Also, check out our new Twitter page, Awesomely AVG. My intern that I found on Craigslist, Chad, he sucks, but that's okay. He's doing his best over there, and I'm not paying him.
Light a candle on Chad.
I will not. That guy sucks. And
He's literally going to light a candle on
Chad. That does it. As always, thanks so much for joining us live if you did. Otherwise, you can catch the show on YouTube on Thursdays. I'm Average. You're awesome. Have a good one.